Hey guys, it's Katie. I am going to make some translucent leaves today, just because I need some. I don't need tons, but I need some, and I don't mind remaking them in the future. So anyways, I have 3 leaves I'm going to make. Pretty much very simple with the black-white. That's what I need, and that's what I'm going to make. So I have some translucent here. This is Primo White, but you can use any translucent you use. I have some black rolled out on my Atlas 150, a 0 being the thickest. I have it on a 4, and I have white on a 4 as well. So depending how thick you roll these out will depend how thick and bold your lines are. And I don't want them to be that bold, so I'm going to do a 4. And we'll see if that's thin enough. So first thing we're going to do is take our translucent, and we're going to shape it into the leaf we want right now. Just getting it moving a little bit. And so roughly shape it into the leaf you want. You're going to mess with this later. Now these canes are super easy because it doesn't take much blending. Really, you're just cutting it and putting it in. Now really make sure your shape's fairly good and it matches all the way across it. You know, if you look down, make sure everything matches. Because if one spot's skinnier than another or fatter than another, when you get to slicing in that area, that's the way it's going to look. But again, we're going to change that in a minute because we're going to be cutting in this. So the first one I'm going to do is just a very simple one. I'm going to do this one here. Okay, so we're going to take, now I'm not sure how much of this black and white I'm going to need, so I'm not going to stack all of it right off. I'm just going to stack some of it. So hang on, let me just, this is Kato black and white just because that's what I feel like using. Let me just get rid of some of that. Get rid of some of that. Cut the little scraggly ends off. My nose is running. It's cold this morning. Oh. Is this long enough? Right here might be. Okay. Not quite long enough, but what I think I'm going to do first is get the width, because each one of these are probably going to have a different width. And I'd rather go a little wider than a little skinnier. Sorry, my nose is running. I'm just going to stack it and just make sure. Okay, that can, oh, excuse me, that can go all the way around. But this white's not quite tall enough. So what I'm going to do with this one, there we go, stack it there. Like that. See if this is long enough. I want to get, maybe I will just do black and white on this one. One stack of black and white. There's that. And then I do want to run a little piece through thinner. So this will be for the outside. I'm going to take a piece of this, some of this black, and I'm going to run it through on the 5 setting. So these were on the 4. I'm going to run this one through on the 5. I conditioned it last night, so it's a little cold. Wow. And for our center kind of stem in the inside, I'm going to make it just a little bit thinner. Okay, so that's on a number 5. Let me just put this through on a 5 as well. I'm just wiping the underside of my pasta machine because I just conditioned the black. Just taking a paper towel and wiping it underneath and then spinning the rollers. Okay, so that's now on a 5. Okay, so we're going to put the center in first. We're going to do that by cutting this guy in half. I don't want the center to go all the way down in half, or all the way down it further through. I can't even speak this morning. I don't want the center to go all the way the full length, but I'm going to cut it in half because it's just easier to lay it in there. And I think I'm going to try to curve it a little bit. Like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to take a little piece of this white, because I don't need much. Let's go this way. Okay, just a little piece of the white. I'm going to take it and put it on black, and we'll do a little piece on the black. I love translucent canes. I just like adding them to projects. That's just my preference. I just like to. So now we have a thinner one. See, it's just slightly thinner. So these ones were on a 4, those were on a 5. And we're gonna take this, and I want this to be, when I set it in here, right, like this, I want it to be a little thinner up at the top. So I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna pinch it, just to taper the end of it a little bit. And again, look at it. Try to keep it roughly the same length. It is getting a little wider, so I'm going to pinch it on the sides here. Try to keep the same width too. And then just lay it in however long you want it. However, if you want it way up here, if you want it down here. Might be a little too tall. That'll be good. Cut off your excess. then put them back together. I gotta blow my nose. Like that. Okay, let me blow my nose quick. Okay, and then next what we're gonna do is just wrap it in the white and black. And I tend to put the white touching my translucent, and that way it makes the white lighter. If you put the black in, it will darken the translucent. So that's totally up to you. So I'm just gonna lay it on. And I just touched the two ends so I could see where I needed to cut. I'm going to get them butted up against each other. Kind of get the blacks to touch and the white to touch. So right there the white's going to look like that. That's okay. Now, if you wanted the stem to come out this one, then I would have made it a little longer. You know what I mean? I feel like I should have done that, or showed you how to do that. What if we insert one now? Right here, just slice down the, I just sliced down the backing. Let's see if I can open it up. Then I can take this little piece I had. Alright, so these are all design details you have to think of yourself and what you want to achieve with your pieces. So you could have put the outside on, then sliced down in, and then added your center if you want it to come all the way out the side or all the way out the bottom. Doing it this way isn't going to be as perfect, but when I reduce it down really small, it won't be that noticeable. Okay, very simple. Oh, we gotta cut this end off though too. Okay, and remember, you can play with this in a million different ways. You can tint the translucent, you can make that a Skinner blend, a rolled blend, a fan fold, you can do whatever you want. This is the same way we do petals pretty much, just by putting whatever color, shaping it, and if you want to insert lines into your petals, just slice it and insert whatever you want to insert. Okay, so there's one basic one. The second one, I'm going to do another simple leaf. And again, the shape we can play with later a little bit more because it gets a little distorted when you put your slices in. Now, the more you use, obviously, the easier this is going to be. Okay, so for this one, we're just gonna make another simple one. Just getting my shape. We're gonna insert a good amount of lines on this. So let's see, what setting do I want? I think I want the thinner setting, the setting 5. Let me just see if I'll cut that crack off. Yep. Yep. Just seeing roughly how long I'll need it to be. Have to double that. I hate working on these thinner settings, especially when I start touching it, because then it gets soft and sticky. White's always sticky. Once you get working with it. I mean, this was crumbly Kato that I had in a bag last night when I first started working with it. It was falling apart in pieces, but I had it in the bag with a conditioner for a few months. Not that it took that long, but okay. So on this one, I'm thinking something like this. So I'm first going to cut it in half. Okay, you can keep it straight or curve it if you want. And then I'll take one of these sides, cut down my lines. Okay. And then we're going to simply just lay the pieces in. And again, you want to decide, do you want your lines to go all the way to the end? Do you want them to stop early? That's, again, decision things you need to make. I think I'm going to have it close to the edge, but not all the way. So again, I'm going to pinch it just to taper it towards the outside of my petal or my leaf. Yeah, like that. And I'll cut off any excess here. I'm going to cut this off, and you see how I keep setting it back on to see how it goes? So, you know, I don't lose track of how it's going to sit. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on this one. Pinch the end a little bit to taper it. And yeah, you could cut that black off if you don't want it just black in one spot, but I don't mind, whatever. Wait. See? I just went to put it on the wrong side. Yeah, something like that. Then we'll set them together. Looking at both sides. And it's early, I really should have waited a little while to do this because I'm still tired. So that's how it's going to be right there. On that one. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I don't care if mine match up perfectly, but if you do, definitely make sure you score it well. Again, I'm going to pinch the end just to taper it a little bit. And then I want to kind of match as well the whites going down towards the bottom. You know, if you want, you can flip it. That's totally up to you. But, you know, I kept the white towards the base of the leaf. That just threw me right off right there, hang on. Let's do this one first. Why am I getting a phone call from Chicago, Illinois? I already got a weird call from New York this morning, and I don't know why. Because they didn't leave a message, and guess what? They don't leave a message, I'm not answering. But Chicago, Illinois, I'm in frickin' Vermont. Who the hell is calling me from Chicago, Illinois? No one I know. This early in the morning. Well, I mean, I guess it's not early. It's like 10 o'clock. But it's early when I stayed up till 1 o'clock last night. It's my Tuesday off. Okay. And that one's a little shorter than that one, but again, not overly concerned with that. Just make them and enjoy making them, you know? Don't freak yourself out about little things. Just try it and see what happens. You might actually have a happy accident. See, and then you can not put in a center, you can put in a center if you want, you can really just do whatever you want. I have enough to put in a center line, so I'm going to. Again, I'm going to pinch it so it tapers it at the end. Do I want it all the way to the top? Yeah, I think I do. Roughly all the way to the top. It doesn't need to be perfect. Maybe a little short at the top. I'm not really worried about these outsides because they will get distorted when we reduce anyways, so this is what I was saying before, if you wanted it to come out the bottom. Now this will depend again if you're gonna put an outside on or not. Just kind of pinching it all back together. Like that. Very simple. And then, let's see, will this wrap all the way around? Let me put this on a 5 too. Now we'll wrap all the way around. Just take my white that I had, I'll put that on a 5 too. Let me just make sure that will wrap all the way around as well. Yep, okay. And then we'll cut one to width, close to the width. I tend to go a little wider than shorter because I'd rather have some to cut off than nothing to cut off. And then we'll lay this on this guy. If I can get it to cooperate. Like that. Oh, my leg's tingling because I'm sitting on it so I can see the camera. Ow, 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 it's tingling. You can tell it's early and I haven't quite woken up yet. And then again, you want to decide, do you want the white or the black on the inside? And then do I want to start with the seam here? No, look at that. I gotta cut that off. Duh. No, that's just a little white that got stuck on the outside. It's not actually white. Just kind of got stuck there. Because I can marble this black and white up, any excess that I have. I can always marble it up. Which is why even that amount I'm cutting off. Okay. We have 2. The third one is going to be similar to the one I did the other time, but not totally white. And I want to try it again, because I wasn't super thrilled with it how it came out the first time. So I'm going to practice and do it again. So again, just getting a rough shape. That way I have kind of the idea of where I'm laying things. And again, we can mess with the shape more after we reduce it. But for now, you just kind of need an idea of what you're doing or where you're going to be cutting, you know. Let me clean this stuff up. I'll be right back. Okay, so with this one, what I think I'm going to do, I just thought about it and I'm going to play with it a little bit. I'm going to roll up a sausage of black, and I want it about to that width. Got a little white in it, but again, not really concerned. And this white has a little black in it, but again, not really concerned, because we're just going to be cutting really thin strips of it. Okay, and then I want to wrap it in white. Make a bullseye. And this white's on a 5, just like it was before. Okay, then we're going to reduce it till it's a lot smaller than this, because I need to get at least maybe 5 of this length out of it, or this length here. And I've showed you how to reduce rounds many times in my other videos, so just by taking our pointer finger and our thumb and wrapping it around, doing a quick roll just to get any finger indents out. I can at least get 5 out of that. Okay. So then I'm going to take like a little needle tool and kind of draw my design. So I want one petal up here, one here. Oh, I want it round on the bottom, pointy on the top. Oop. And then I'm going to want one roughly here. This was the one I did before, but I kind of struggled with it. So I'm going to try it again. One here, one here, ish. You know, obviously that's not exactly what it's going to be. And then last time I remember this part, when I reduced it, got too close to the top one, so I want to make sure it's further down. Okay, so we're going to insert these sausages in here. So first things first, let's just cut it in half, all the way down. Okay, let's put one over there. And then I'm going to do these ones first, I think. Okay. And again, they don't need to be matching up perfectly. Now, let me see how big this is if I make it. Might be a little too wide still. Let me cut some of it off, because the bottom ones I am going to want wider than the top ones. Let me reduce this down a little bit. And so if you fail, try again. So last time I didn't love the way that one came out, and it was plain white and translucent. And there were some things I wanted to change, so now I'm changing it. Okay, and then I'm going to push one side down to make this kind of a teardrop shape, or you can pinch it and make it a triangle, however you want to do this. You can do it, but I think I'm just going to push one end against the table. Now I might as well keep that end on there. I'm trying to keep it all the same height all the way across. That's a little air bubble in there. It's not actually the clay. Okay, so then let me cut one off roughly to length. I'm actually going to want two about this size, because I'm going to need one for the other side. So let me cut that off while I'm at it. That will be for the other side. So for this one, we'll go here. Now, I'm thinking an easier way to get it to set in there is by making a groove. So I'm going to take my needle tool, paintbrush, whatever you got, and kind of make a spot for it to sit in there. And this is, again, another trial. I don't know how it's going to come out. Okay, let me put a groove on this side. I don't know if you guys think I'm perfect at it too. I'm not. I play. See what I can come up with. See? Like that. And then the bottom ones I wanted slightly bigger. Than the one I had. So maybe this is why I cut that piece off. And obviously the more translucent you use, the easier this will be because it's bigger. Okay, let me cut one of those to length. That one's going to go there, like that. So let's make another groove for the fat part to sit in, and then I'm rolling it up so the skinny part can kind of fit in there. And I know it's going all the way to the edge. Not that I intended it to go all the way to the edge of the translucent, like on this one, but it is what it is. That's how it turned out. Okay, so I'm sitting that one in there. Okay, and then we need to make a groove on this side. And I can always wrap with another layer of translucent on the outside if I want to make sure I have a layer of translucent all the way around each petal, or each, I don't know what to call them, segment, black and white segment. Okay. Good. See? I don't know. We'll see what it comes out to be, you know? I really don't know. Never made one. So you're gonna have to see it when I see it. So let's do the bottom one first. I'm gonna do this top one last, the one I'm gonna put in here. No, let me cut it to length first, or width, or whatever. Making another groove. You know, you could use a knitting needle, paintbrush, whatever you have. Setting the wide part in the groove. And then I'll make a groove on the other side. Yeah, that's how it goes. Right? Yep. And it's a leaf, so I don't care if it gets wonky, if that's actually what's happening on the inside. That might just be what's happening on the end there. And then I have this skinnier one that I already cut. You're just trying to force the clay around it. Okay, and then I want to put one right at the tippy top. So let me set them together and kind of make a line where I want to start. Make this just a little skinnier by pulling on it. Okay, and then I do want to insert a center, which I have some of this black and white rolled out. But I think I'm going to make it even thinner. So if this is on a 5, a double 5, because the white was on a 5 and the black was on a 5, I'm going to roll it together on a 5. Okay, and then we'll insert that in, but I want to make sure I keep it away from my petal, my top one. So I'm going to taper the end again, just like I've done with all the other ones. That will make it a little wider and stuff, but that's okay. And you could also do white, black, white. That actually might look cool. Let's do that. Get a black on the inside. Let me just do that. Why not? Let me roll this through on a 5. Okay, so now it's a white sandwich with black in the middle. Let's see what that looks like. Is that far enough away? Let's hope. Oh, it's already stuck, so that's where it's staying anyways. And I wasn't planning on wrapping this one. So it kind of blends in very nice, like really lightly with my piece. Like it doesn't stand out that much. Force it all together. Like that. Now if you wanted to wrap it, you totally could, you know, do a wrap. I don't think I want to. I really don't. I think I just want to leave it like this. Now I do have some of this showing, so I could take a layer of translucent and wrap it around the whole outside, and that way I'm sure that my petals don't touch the outside. Let me get some translucent, because this petal is going to the outside, so when I take slices you're going to see that, whereas none of the other ones are. So I do think I want to wrap it in a layer of translucent. So let me get a little translucent conditioned. I'll be right back. So I have some rolled out on a thin setting, but obviously it's too wide. So what I'll do is just fold in the ends. And this is on a really thin setting. So I'll fold in the ends, and that will roughly get you closer to the width when you run it back through your machine. Lengthwise, so from this end to this end. And I think I'm roughly going to do it on a setting 3, so then I'll again fold in a little bit more. And then I'll fold it in half, run it back through. So yeah, this is on a 3. Now, if your petals didn't go all the way to the edge, you don't need to do this. I'm just doing it because mine did. And I don't want my petal to be shown in my cut like that when I cut them into slices. Oh, I can't wait till my Lucy clay slicer comes. Let me see if this is long enough to go all the way around. To cut these canes. I got the big boy Lucy clay slicer. I'm so excited. Pay it off over some time. Yep, that will fit around. Okay. So I'll line one edge up, and then the other will hang over because it's a little wide. And it's just translucent, so it should just blend in with my other clay, the surrounding clay, when I reduce it. It really doesn't matter if it's thicker or not at the top, because we're really not going to see it. But that way I know I have space between this petal and the outside. Okay. Sticking it all on there. So now we have our 3 different petals, and we need to reduce them. So let me get this stuff out of my way. This stuff here With the black and white, I'll keep it and I'll marble it at some point. This I would just keep. That's a simple jelly roll. You can always change it back into a circle. You know, so this stripe, maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. I might just throw it in this pile. Okay, let me move some stuff. And I have to go to the bathroom, and then we'll start reducing. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to reduce these. There's a couple of different ways you can go about reducing. You can either make this a triangle, flatten off the bottom, and push down, or you can try to keep it a similar shape that you were working in. Now, when I first started making these, I would push it down and reduce it as a triangle along my board. Now I may try to keep it this shape just by literally pushing it in this shape. Obviously it's going to change some, but so I'm starting in the middle just like we would a circle, and that way any air trapped in is going to push out through the openings and the cracks, okay? So I'm just putting most of the pressure in the middle to give it a waist just like we usually do a circle. I'm just following the lines of the shape that I have. And then once you get a little waist, we're going to work up on the ends the same way. Whether you're pulling or pinching, doesn't really matter, whatever's comfortable for you. I did post some videos the other day of where I learned to reduce and where I learned the basic canes. I've never taken any art classes, so I posted them on my Facebook page because I started to make like a Skinner blend video and stuff, and honestly I think Samantha does a great job, and if that's where I learned to do it, then I'm gonna send you to her to learn how to do it. I don't watch a lot of videos at this point, but when I was first starting, obviously I had to learn how to do the basics somewhere, and rather than buy books, I did it on YouTube. So that's where I learned the basics, so I posted the basic videos. So Samantha, Fiona, Abel Smith, Samantha Burrows, and Cindy Leach at Polymer Clay Tutor are the three that I watched. And Cindy Leach was great for teaching me what materials to buy and different strengths and stuff like that. Once I realized the Sculpey 3 was really weak, and then I was like, okay, so what do I get online? You know, because I can't buy anything but Sculpey 3 in my store. I started, she has a lot of good like strength test videos and stuff like that. And even like different finishes and different varnishes, and to see if they're compatible with polymer clay. Same with her storage video, it tells you what kind of plastics you can use. And remember, you can make these as small or as big as you want. Once they get to a certain length, you can pull on them a little bit. Once you can get both your hands around it. So again, I start in the middle every time, and then I work that waist. And then once I have that waist, then I work up on one side until it gets roughly about the same width. And I can't say it enough, start at the beginning. Start with the simple Skinner blend, the simple bullseye cane, the simple blended roll. Start with those, the jelly roll, the stacks. Reduce those. See what, start with those and reduce those and see how they turn out for you. Use scrap clay, When I was doing that video yesterday that I was doing and then decide she could, I was using scrap clay. So use scrap clay. Make your make your canes, play with them until you can start imagining what's actually happening within the cane, and not just look at the outside and go, oh, that's not working. Because we don't care about what's happening on the outside. We care about what's happening on the inside. And you can't expect yourself to make the most complicated cane first. So my first complex cane, or harder cane I would say, it's not super complex, was that rose. So I first started out doing these. Here, stuff like this. My leaf just fell off. This is a simple Skinner blend roll. And then that one in there is just kind of a stack that I rolled up. This is a simple Skinner blend jelly. It's not really jelly roll, a Skinner blended roll. And then I cut the lines just like I did with this one. And then I made flowers this way because I wasn't good at backfilling. So start out doing very simple things. Here's another one where I just made the petal and laid the petal on because again I was not good at backfilling. So I made the petal design and then laid it on. But the rose was the first video I posted because that was the most difficult cane I had done up until that point, and that was about 6 months ago. I would start at my rose, so go on to my YouTube, click the video tab, scroll all the way down to the rose, and then go up from there because, you know, some of the, like my shaded flower, that has 3 different Skinner blends in it. That's really complex. If you start with that one and it doesn't turn out very good, you're going to go, oh, I hate canes. I'm not good at canes. Well, obviously, because you started with the hardest cane ever. You know what I mean? You don't get a bicycle and take the training wheels off the first day and expect to be able to not fall over, you know? We all had to practice everything we do. So, you know, I think the rose, I tried to explain it as simple as I could, was one of the ones I was shocked how well it came out. And even at times I've messed it up, it still came out pretty good. So, and most people that I'm seeing, they're coming out really well. So I would start there. If not, the translucent canes are quite easy. The lace canes, though they look very complex, this one, and I have a white one too that I did a while back, though they look very complex, they're just using very basic components. So we have a jelly roll, we have a bullseye cane, we have a stacked cane, and here's another stacked cane that I just manipulated. So same with this one here. We have 2 different types of jelly rolls, this one down here and that one up there, bullseyes, stacked cane right here in the middle, stacked cane on the ends. So those are really good beginner ones because they are using very basic canes. So this takes a while. Go slow with reducing as well. Go slow until you get them down to the size you want. I'm going to show you one, but the rest are going to be reduced exactly the same way. Sometimes I pull up on the ends to get them a little even. My translucent in the middle is sucking in a little bit, and if you have end caps, then those would be great. From Teresa Pandora. She makes end caps for the reason of distortion. I don't know how small I actually want to make this. So if anything, I'll leave it larger and make it smaller later. So I'm just working up the whole length of it now. Start in the middle, and then I'm going up to the end. And the ends will start to look goofy, but that's okay. And when we cut it, we can always go, okay, that shape got a little weird here. Let's modify that shape by pushing and pulling in certain directions. So I know this is long to watch, but if you're struggling with reduction, I want to show you. I've said many times, if I cut it out just because some people don't want to see it, then the people who actually need to see it won't be able to. If you know what you're doing, go ahead and fast forward and just see the end product. I've already showed you how to make it, so you really don't need to watch me reduce it if you know how to reduce well. But if you don't, then I'm showing you how. So I'm just pulling along the length, twisting and pulling. Now if you reduce it as a triangle, it is easier just by pushing like this on your board, but your bottom will flatten out. So I'm trying to keep my bottom pretty round by doing it like this. And reducing is not a part that you want to rush. You just want to take your time. Put your music on, put your show on, forget about everything and just reduce. Just enjoy the process of crafting. If you're looking to get through everything really fast, then I don't know, you're probably not enjoying it very much. You know what I mean? I don't mind the time it takes for me to craft things. People have posted before, oh, you could have done it this way and it would have been way faster. And I'm like, well, okay, great, do it that way. I don't mind doing it this way where it took a little bit longer. Obviously I'm doing it because I want to be doing something, so. Maybe just a little bit more. I watched this movie last night called The Prestige, and I've seen it before, but years ago. It's about these magicians who have kind of like a rivalry, I can't even say the word, you know what I mean? And it's actually a good movie. If you've never seen it, watch it. And then the other night I watched the movie The Brothers. It's the holiday weekend, so I watched The Brothers, which was about a guy who went to war and stuff, and it's kind of a love movie. That's a good movie if you've never seen that movie. Those are the two movies I watched in the last 5 days. Well, 4 days? I don't know. I had Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and today's Tuesday off. Because I always get Tuesdays, and Monday was the holiday. Because we just hit September. Which is crazy to think that we're in September. Okay, this is about a good size for me. Let me get my new blade for cutting canes, and we'll cut this in half. Okay. See, and I already have my shape, but I can say, oh, I want the bottom more rounded. Well, then just round the bottom. If you want more the top more rounded, just point the top. If you want it skinnier, make it skinnier. So that's a very, very simple cane. And I think that will look pretty. And again, you could tint the translucent with some alcohol inks. You could do whatever you want. So I'm going to continue reducing part of this down a little smaller. So I have a couple different sizes. And then I'll reduce the other ones. And I'll show you when I come back what they look like. Okay. Now that this is smaller, I literally can do this with my fingers. And because that's pretty much the shape it is. But when it was bigger, it was kind of hard to do that because, you know, my fingers don't really do that. So now that it's smaller, I can just kind of pinch along, make it kind of diamond-y, and then just pat the sides down to round them off. Very quickly, you'll go down to sides, different sizes, because you've been already working this. This will not take long. at all when you've been working it. And again, if you're not sure what sizes you want for your projects, leave it bigger. You're better off leaving it larger because you can always make it smaller. It's very difficult, if it's even possible with some canes, to make them bigger after you've already made them small. Okay, at least for most people, that's going to be super difficult. So leave them larger until you're sure what you want. Now, I usually use 3 different sizes of flowers and stuff, so I generally know for my size pieces, I don't make like fairy houses or anything. I just make pendants generally. I might start making earrings at some point, but I don't wear a lot of earrings in my dental field. I don't wear bracelets, so I don't tend to make them. So I generally know what sizes I use, which is why I'm reducing it down. So just that quickly, we've gone quite a bit in the size. And then what I would do is cut some more of this off. Okay. And again, if you want it more round on the sides, just pinch it more round. Want the bottom flatter, just push the bottom flatter. You can really manipulate them in any which way you want. Especially once you cut your piece. So there's 2. And this last one, I'll do the same thing and just make it even a little bit smaller. And later I might go, oh, I even want one smaller than that, so I might make it a little bit smaller later. And I'll take this distorted end and mix it in with that white and black scrap I have. And I can marble it later. Oh, I had a weird dream last night. I just remembered it. That I was at my old job. And I snuck into a room where they kept snacks. Like, there was a whole another wing to the building I had no clue about, with these secret entrances into the snack room, and I stole some snacks out of the snack room. I don't know why. This is the end. A little distorted, but I'm going to keep that. I won't get rid of that. Okay, so here are my 3 sizes. 1, 2, and 3. Someone asked me to hold them up a little longer. So very, very simple translucent leaf that you can do a lot of different things with. This scrap I'll put in, like I said, with my black and white. Actually, I might keep it separate and then I can cut slices off. Okay, so I'm going to reduce these 2 the same way, and I'll show you them when I'm done. And then I'll be back. Okay, here's the second one, I think in my largest size. I wanted to show you though when I cut it. Let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, it's very cute. Can't get it to focus. I think it's cute. You know, and again, I can always play with the shape. You know, if I want to curve it a little bit, or make it skinnier or longer, or pinch in the bottom, make it shorter. You know, you can really just play with each one. Come on, focus. And I probably won't reduce this any smaller. That's probably as small as I will get with that one. Honestly, I probably should have left one a little bigger. See? I think it's very cute. Okay, I'm going to do the last one. I was just thinking to myself, that might actually make a cute flower. Maybe we'll do that at some point. Okay, so there's that one. And, yeah, see, that's a little bigger on this end. And the scrap end. Actually, I might save that. There's a little distortion there. There we go, now I'm starting to see the top one. Well, I won't slice off the rest because I won't. Okay, so now I'm going to reduce the last one, and then I'll show you that when I get to the time to cut it, because I think it's exciting to cut through them and show you when you cut through them. Okay, so here's my large size of this one. Let's cut it and see what I have. Another pretty one. I just love translucent canes. I really do. I'm such a fan of them. Some people think it takes away from whatever you're adding it onto. To me, I just think it adds something fun to it. So I like them a lot. But that's our own personal taste, you know. We all have our own personal preferences of what we like to add onto our pieces, and that's what makes our art unique from someone else's. It's because we all have our own personal taste. Just rounding off the bottom. Now what I've been doing with these scraps, what I did, see just that quickly, I went down in size. Okay, so with these scraps what I've been doing is I rolled out some scrap clay. I've just been putting these slices on. I'm going to roll it up and see what something cool it makes. I made these the other day with my scraps from my black lace cane. I think they look cool. They're just buffed and polished, no resin on them. Or sanded and buffed with my Dremel. I don't know, I think they look neat. You know, you can really get some neat things out of your scraps, so don't just chuck them. I was going to put it on the black and white excess, but then I realized, oh, that probably won't show up very much. See, these ones from my black lace. Kind of looks tigery because of the colors. And then I have some more of this. I have a little bit of this one. I need one more. And then all my blue's covered, and I'm going to swirl this up and see what something fun I can get out of it. You don't even need to swirl it, you could just flatten it. See, I don't tend to like Natasha beads. I don't know why I don't tend to like them, but I do like lentils with scraps and rolling them out and using them for my backing. There's a part you don't like. See? I don't know. I like doing that. And then I would take my roller. And then I usually use these for backings, but you could put it in a cabochon mold. See, I really stretched it out. You don't need to stretch it out that much. But I like these. I like using, as I've showed you many times, I like using those for backings. So here's my translucent one from my black lace. Here's a couple from the other black lace ones. So I'll just stick it in there and I have something to use at some point. I don't know, I think it's fun. So don't get rid of your scraps, because you can really, or I could still put this in a cabochon mold and fill it with something else. Usually I cut this. I didn't cut this. It'd be easier if I cut this. This is just a sheet protector, and I usually cut it down the side. I can get in there a little better. And I don't risk as much getting as much dog hair on these. And these are all my backings I could potentially use. So, anyways, so here are our leaves. And I know some of you won't like my videos because they're long. But again, I'd rather not keep anything out. Let's see, how am I going to stack all these together so I can hold them all up at once? Okay, 3 different translucent leaves. All pretty simple to make. All very effective when you add them on a project. I think that's the distorted side. Yep. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, other people probably will as well. So please like, share, comment. If you have any questions, go ahead and write it on there. I do have a Facebook page rather than my personal page. I decided to make a Facebook page a couple months back, and that way I can keep my personal. Again, try not to personally instant message me, because again, I did say this on my group the other day, I'm trying to keep my personal, and this, so if you have a question, just write out my group. My group's really helpful if I'm at work by answering any questions they know. So again, it's Katie's, K-A-T-I-E '(S), Polymer Clay Friends. And then please feel free to join my group and show us any works that you've done. We'd love to see it. So I'm just going to take these end slices, though they're not perfect. These are what I bake and that I put in my notebook. Okay, so these are different projects that I've made and my instructions to them, and just the end cans. So even though they're a little distorted, I can go back then and look and go, okay, yeah, I need that in a flower, so, or I need that on this project. So that way I can, and then any ideas I have, I write in here. Like this one I still haven't come out with. This one I'm still working on. So any kind of ideas I have, I write them in here, and then I work them out. And then when I do the end product, I put it right in here. So that way I have a reference back if I'm doing a project and I need inspiration and I'm missing an element or I don't know what to put, I can look back, and even different colors that I've done. I've, you know, like with the rose, I started off with a pink one, and then I made a blue one, and then I made a dusty rose, and then I made a black. So I just keep adding them on there so I can remember at some point, oh yeah, I made that flower. Oh yeah, I really liked that one. Okay, that's what I need in this project. So I take these end canes, and I don't bake them long. I only bake them for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, because they're only going in my book. Just, you know, give me inspiration later. Okay, so I'll bake these off and I'll put them in my book, and I will see you guys with the next tutorial. So yeah, there's some distortion there, but whatever. Later.